He's the man.
Salt Bae, once the golden man of social media, is now a global punchline. From Messi snubbing him at the World Cup to being stopped by security outside a Champions League after-party, his rise to fame has collapsed into ridicule. Online, he's no longer admired. He's mocked as a symbol of faded hype. His luxury restaurants, once packed with celebrities, are crumbling. 5 out of 7 U.S. locations have already shut down. London profits have dropped over 30%, and his Beverly Hills flagship, once the pride of his empire, is gone for good. Behind the glitter came scandal after scandal. Bills bigger than car payments, staff describing the workplace like the Hunger Games, and political stunts that alienated his wealthiest markets. So how did a 36-second salt sprinkling clip create a global empire, only to crash this hard? How did a man once courted by DiCaprio, Beckham, and Bruno Mars become a laughingstock? And what secrets still hide behind the flashy suits and diamond watches? In this video, we'll strip back the mask. Beyond the headlines, you'll see the full story. The money, the fame, the scandals, and the mental cost of keeping up a hollow facade. To understand his downfall, we must rewind. Back to Istanbul, a small kitchen where Nusret Gökçe, a poor butcher with big dreams, first turned meat cutting into a show that shook the world. Back in 2017, a single 36-second salt sprinkle flipped the internet upside down. The clip racked up over 16 million views in days, transforming Salt Bae from a nobody into a worldwide meme. Overnight, his Instagram exploded. Millions of followers poured in, and A-list stars lined up at his table. Beckham, DiCaprio, Bruno Mars, even Cristiano Ronaldo. They all came to witness the show. But Salt Bae wasn't just serving food, he was selling a performance. Gold-plated steaks, camera-ready poses, and dinner checks reaching $140,000 turned his restaurants into viral stages. Every bite was a luxury stunt designed to trend. For years, the golden glow never faded, until it started cracking under the same hunger for fame that made him famous. His obsession with the spotlight grew wild. He believed fame alone could open every door, and that illusion finally caught up with him at the 2022 World Cup. The final whistle blew, and instead of staying in the stands, Salt Bae stormed the pitch like an uninvited guest. He grabbed at players, tried to hold the trophy, and shoved himself into photos meant for champions. The cameras caught everything. Messi, usually calm and polite, brushed him off with a sharp glare that went viral in seconds. Messi's fans wasted no time. Social media lit up with brutal mockery. Salt Bae's forced grin on the pitch only made the backlash sting harder. What he thought was another viral stunt quickly turned into a worldwide embarrassment, with millions calling him out for shamelessly stealing the spotlight. This wasn't just internet jokes anymore. It became a serious issue. FIFA launched an investigation within days, releasing a statement that Salt Bae had gained improper access to the field during the World Cup closing ceremony. The punishment was swift, banned from all official FIFA events. Just like that, the man once welcomed at VIP parties and global finals was branded persona non grata. No more red carpets, no more flashing lights, just a fading figure on the field, smiling through the shame as his golden aura slipped away. The message from FIFA was crystal clear. His antics weren't just cringeworthy, they crossed the line. This moment was the turning point, the shift from a respected celebrity chef into a global joke. But the World Cup fiasco was only the symptom.
You know, on your wedding day, you have some wedding crasher come and like, I want a picture with you, even though you want to celebrate with your people, right? Like, look, this is a big moment for the team. And then, like, FIFA's investigating how this happened, what this happened. Well, guys, the calls are coming from inside the house because apparently this Salt Bae dude is really good friends with FIFA president Gianni Infantino.
The real story was deeper. How he ran his empire, how he played with fame, and how money and power twisted the very image that made him a star in the first place. Because here's the truth. The World Cup wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. When the stadium lights dimmed and the viral clip stopped rolling, a darker question echoed. Without the memes, without the staged moments, what did Salt Bae really have left? And that's when cracks began to widen, as even his celebrity supporters, the very people who built his brand, started to quietly turn their backs. The outrage didn't stop with FIFA. It spilled everywhere. Social media, news outlets, even celebrities piled on, roasting Salt Bae for acting like a spoiled child desperate for attention. Big names who once posed proudly at his restaurants now distanced themselves, some even mocking the circus-like way he turned meals into empty performances. Football stars shaded him online too, hinting that fame can't replace respect, a message that felt aimed straight at him. The very spotlight that made him a star now burned him alive. Doubts grew, and cracks in his empire became impossible to hide. Customers revealed the ugly truth behind the glittering doors of Nusret. Those infamous gold-plated steaks weren't symbols of luxury anymore. They were receipts of absurdity, with price tags hitting $140,000. What once looked glamorous now screamed scam. People who dined there began confessing they felt cheated. The gold leaf had zero flavor, no culinary value, just a shiny Instagram prop. The luxury experience was nothing more than a social media illusion.
I actually tried that burger, everybody, when I was there. It is ridiculously expensive.
Expensive smoke and mirrors. Instead of leaving with memories, many walked away feeling exploited and disrespected. Salt Bae tried clapping back, insisting, quality is never expensive, but the backlash only got louder. Critics called it shameful to flaunt such waste when people are starving. One sarcastic reply went viral. You're right, quality is never expensive, but this isn't quality. And if the overpriced bills weren't bad enough, whispers from behind the kitchen doors made things worse. Former employees started speaking out, exposing that behind every glittering steak was sweat, exhaustion, and stories of a workplace built on exploitation.
Hold up, the Salt Bae guy from the meme has a chain of restaurants and they cost how much?
When you pay $31,000 to see Salt Bae, but don't eat meat.
So that's about $8,500 US. $8,500 to eat at a meme restaurant? What next? Is Disaster Girl gonna open a taco shop? Alien Guy's Barbecue? Kermit's House of Tea? I can't keep doing this. And the funny thing is, that's not even the real Salt Bae. He hires lookalikes to work at different locations. That's not Salt Bae, that's Paprika Bae.
The golden facade was cracking, and this time, it wasn't just customers. It was his own staff turning against him. Then came the voices from behind the kitchen flames, the workers themselves. Former staff painted a chilling picture, calling it a real-life Hunger Games, where nobody knew if they'd survive the shift without being fired. Allegations piled up, tips being withheld, overnight hours with no overtime pay, and even claims of passports being taken to keep employees locked in. Though not all of these claims have been independently verified, they added fuel to an already burning scandal, and it didn't stop there. Some branches were caught violating food safety rules, while others allegedly cut costs so brutally that customers ended up shivering through dinners in freezing dining rooms.
It's shameful to flaunt this when people are starving around the world. What a fool.
This was the complete opposite of the gold-plated fantasy Salt Bae promised. The empire, once shimmering with wealth and prestige, was starting to look rotten inside. Luxury on the surface, exploitation underneath. Authorities couldn't ignore it. A Ministry of Health spokesperson confirmed they would review this matter, while the restaurant chain stayed silent, dodging questions. But by then, the damage was done. Social media buzzed with horror stories, receipts, and angry posts that turned into a domino effect. By July 2025, the fallout became undeniable. 5 of 7 U.S. Nusret branches shut their doors, including the Crown Jewel in Beverly Hills. In London, the downfall became impossible to ignore. Revenue at Nusret Knightsbridge collapsed by 31% in just 1 year, dropping to £180,000 a week, a devastating fall for a restaurant once nestled in one of the world's richest districts. What was once a glamorous hotspot for celebrities was now fading into empty rooms, dark windows, and headlines about closures. The message was brutal but clear. When trust is gone, no amount of gold, fame, or hype can save you. The empire that once looked unshakable was now crumbling in plain sight.
Every health and nutrition expert agrees that ultra-processed foods are bad for you. But we're noticing this weird anomaly in the carnivore community that I wanted to inform you about. I think you'll be very interested in this. So some researchers got together and they came up with this rating or classification system of ultra-processed food.
And these closures weren't random. They trace back to deeper cracks that have been festering for years, not in the steaks themselves, but in the choices Salt Bae made about who to align with. Flashback to 2018. Venezuela was drowning in one of the worst economic crises of the decade. Inflation soared over 1,000%, families couldn't afford bread, and parents struggled to feed their children. Yet in the middle of that chaos, a video surfaced of Salt Bae proudly serving gold-plated steak to President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. The image was shocking. While Venezuelans starved, their leader dined on meat wrapped in gold at Salt Bae's table. Outrage erupted across the world, and the moment branded Salt Bae as not just tone-deaf, but complicit in flaunting excess during human suffering. That wound never healed. To be fair, some who worked beside him in the kitchen still recall the raw skill that started it all. The rhythm of his knife, the dramatic flick of his wrist as salt rained down, but no matter how sharp the technique, the damage of that image lingered. Salt Bae started with pure passion, a butcher who turned cooking into performance. But once money and fame took over, the love for the kitchen shifted into a love for the spotlight. Every dish had to glitter, every move had to go viral, and every meal became a staged act for the cameras. That obsession blurred boundaries. Believing he was adored everywhere, he pushed himself into moments that weren't his. None bigger than the World Cup, where Messi's cold rejection turned him into a global embarrassment. What he saw as a stunt, the world saw as intrusion. From there, the scandals piled up. Bills as high as $140,000, angry customers calling his food a scam, and ex-staff accusing him of exploitation. The golden glow that once placed him beside presidents and football stars has faded into ridicule and fatigue. Now the question looms. When the Champions League 2025 lights shine, will Salt Bae be inside celebrating or left outside as proof that fame without respect can't keep you at the table? The doors to Salt Bae's glamorous world are closing, but he doesn't seem to see it. He still shows up at big events, chasing cameras like it's 2017, convinced his glory days are intact. But the gap between how he sees himself and how the world now views him led straight to humiliation. June 2025, Champions League after party. Salt Bae makes his entrance, but this time there's no red carpet, no cameras chasing him. Instead, a viral video shows him being stopped by security at the VIP section where the real stars gather. The man who once sprinkled salt for presidents and icons was now left standing awkwardly, denied entry in front of a crowd. He tried defending himself, claiming he was just there to meet fans. But social media doesn't wait for explanations. Within hours, memes exploded across Twitter and TikTok, mocking the once golden chef as nothing more than an outsider begging for relevance. There was no party. I wasn't even invited. I was just passing by. Salt Bae rushed to defend himself, insisting the viral clip was a misunderstanding. He called the rumors of being kicked out an attack on his reputation. But the damage was already done. International outlets from The Sun to News.au ran brutal headlines calling it the most embarrassing fall. The same media that once splashed his photos with Beckham, DiCaprio, and Messi now framed him as a has-been. The contrast was glaring. In 2022, he forced his way to the World Cup trophy, only to be iced out by Messi's cold stare. By 2025, he couldn't even make it through a VIP door. That shut entrance became the perfect metaphor. From dining with presidents and football legends to being locked out in front of cameras, Salt Bae had gone from icon to outsider. And for a man whose empire thrived on the spotlight, that humiliation cut deeper than any unpaid bill. The truth could no longer be hidden. The golden steaks, the flashy restaurants, the viral theatrics, they were never built on lasting quality. They were built on a 36-second meme, and like every straw fire, it burned bright, then fizzled out once the audience moved on. Yet behind the mockery, there's still a tragic twist. This wasn't just the fall of a viral chef. It was the story of a poor butcher who carved his way from nothing to the world stage, only to be consumed by the very spotlight that made him. A reminder that fame isn't food, and you can't live off salt and glitter forever. In the end, Salt Bae's story is a reminder that behind all the glitter and gold, there's still just a man, flawed, carried away, and sometimes completely lost in his own illusion. The final question remains, was he a hustler who seized the moment and built an empire out of nothing? Or simply a man blinded by the golden light of his own fame? That answer depends on how you choose to see him, a success story or a cautionary tale. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Salt Bae deserves a comeback, or is his time in the spotlight officially over? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the rise and fall of the world's biggest names.